Erica. So I have a new story for you. It's brand new, and it's entitled "How to Market Research." And I will give a little explanation on why I have chosen that very specific title. If you look back on the last 5 years, you as researchers, I think you all have noticed that we have had a small revolution in our market research industry. We have far more market research techniques now than 5 years ago. And it's the web, the internet, and especially the social part of the web that has brought that to us. I think if you look at your market research toolbox and you compare it with what you had 5 or 10 years ago, it's far more exciting, I think. It's far more diverse, which is great, because through those new methodologies, we have now possibilities that we didn't have 5, 10 years ago. We probably discovered insights that in a different way, the more traditional way, we wouldn't have discovered. So we had a battle also in the last 5 to 10 years between the traditional research methodologies and the newer, more innovative research methodologies. And I think we are at that point where a lot of people see that things like what we are going to talk about tonight, consumer consulting boards, newer ways of doing both quantitative and especially qualitative research methodologies are bringing us deeper, better, stronger insights. But the question is that also the focus for the next 5 years? Because if you look at all the beautiful new research methodologies that I think they are bringing us all the insights that we need. They are bringing us closer to consumers. They are giving us inspiration. But probably we have reached a saturation point. Adding more, newer methodologies will probably not bring us better insights, will probably bring us not even closer to consumers. So I think we should care about something else. Because if you look at the people within your business, let's be honest, they don't care about which research methodology we are using. So it's about having the insights that we need. We get there because of the new technology, because of the new methodologies. But it's especially about making sure that all those insights have an impact on the business. Because that's what the people we work for, the internal stakeholders, care about, not about the method that we use. So this is our focus for the next 5 years. Now that we have all those methodologies, now that we have all those beautiful insights, let's focus on making sure that we get more return on investment, more return on insights, making sure that we really make sure that everyone within the business gets the most out of all those beautiful new insights. That's our focus. That should be our focus. Your focus, but especially our focus as research agencies who need to support you, who need to help you. In order to see what do we need to do as agencies, as research agencies, to help you to make this become reality, we did a little bit of research. We did research among corporate market researchers, inside professionals within organizations. Both a qualitative part and a quantitative part. A quantitative bit in which we did research with 185 corporate researchers from around the world, and a qualitative bit in which we did in-depth interviews with 20 senior inside professionals in most of the cases global multinational companies, and in most of the cases at headquarter level. So a study actually to investigate what are today the unmet needs of you, inside professionals within organizations. How can we help you, not with new research methods, but how can we help you with innovation in the space of impact to make sure that you do even a better job, that you even have more impact on the business with your insights than you already have today. And the first thing that we see, if we look at the quantitative part of the study, is that you're all very ambitious people. You want to do a lot. You want to have a lot of impact, But unfortunately, today, you don't have all the tools available. You don't have all the time available to do it. So yes, there is room for improvement. That's what all of you say. And it's up to us to work together to, let's say, make your ambition become reality. In order to guide you through the research results, through the results of this global study, I have chosen 3 teams to, let's say, summarize the research results. And the first theme is around bringing consumer insights to life. And the first thing that was striking to me is that we use all PowerPoint, but only in 10% of the cases we use a more creative way of bringing consumer insights to life. So I think a lot of internal stakeholders are already killed by a PowerPoint slide. And I don't think that we are really bringing consumer insights to life in enough of the cases. So that was, for me, striking. I think we need to be more creative. Let that be maybe the first conclusion of tonight. If you then look at the qualitative bit, and we ask to insight professionals within organizations, what are the comments on your work that you hear a lot from internal stakeholders? The first one is about, they always say that they are lost in the data, lost in the insights. They want us to come up with shorter, sharper presentations. They want us to be clear on what the important insights are, what the conclusions are. They want us to give recommendations. And secondly, we also see that they not always feel or see the beauty of consumer insights, that they don't know how to use consumer insights in their day-to-day work. And it's up to us, they say, to link all our insights to their key and core business challenges. So often, the internal users of research are lost in translation. So I think we need to move away from just sharing research results towards bringing research results to life through creative formats. And we need, I think, also to make sure that we are clear. We don't give them everything. We give them the things that matter, and we link it to their day-to-day reality. And especially in this first part, in this first team, I think it's important to bring research results to life. Because we have seen in a lot of the cases when we work with clients that if you present them an insight, sometimes they see it, sometimes they don't. If you let them experience the insight themselves, it creates an aha moment. It makes that all of a sudden they see the beauty of our work. And I will give you a simple example. We do a lot of work back in my home country in Belgium, for the local public transportation company. And what we did was, we shared with them, we followed the rules of this first part, only 10 consumer insights. Just the insights and a couple of illustrations of the insights, the 10 major insights that we found. And it was like, oh, interesting. It was to the top management of the company. And what we did afterwards is we brought 10 consumers from our study into the room, from our consumer consulting board. And we have 150 consumers on there, so we picked the 10 that we knew of, based on all the conversations that we saw them having on the platform, that would really nail it, even towards the CEO. And we had a speed dating session. 10 tables. Each table had a consumer insight on the table. 10 consumers and 10 top managers. 5 minutes for each conversation. So in 50 minutes' time, they saw 10 different consumers who were bringing interesting stories, who were bringing each time, in 5 minutes, a consumer insight to life. What did the CEO say afterwards? Well, he said, you guys are great presenters, but the consumers were the real stars today. The fact that I experienced the consumer insights, that I really felt them, is going to make that myself and my management are really going to do something with it. So that's why I think it's important to use more of the 10%, more creative formats, different formats than just presentations. Second theme is connecting people within the business with consumer insights, or to consumer insights and with each other, and empowering them to use the consumer insights. I think this is an interesting number. 92% of the people in the sample believe that they create insights worth sharing with their colleagues. I would really like to meet the other 8%. And if you then look at what they do with all the insights that they find interesting, is they share it. But only 2 out of 3 share it extensively. So we know that probably there is a missed opportunity. Probably we don't share our consumer insights enough and with enough people. Probably there are other people than the people we share them with today that can benefit from the consumer insights. Only in 1 out of 5 cases we organize some kind of brainstorm session or workshop around our studies. And I agree with you that it's not always necessary. Some pieces of research don't need this. They just need immediate action. But I think in a lot of the cases, studies and the return on investment on those studies can really benefit from bringing people together. Let them talk about the research results. Let them brainstorm about it together across different parts of the organization. Because what I see a lot is that we share insights in a presentation. Afterwards, the different members of different departments go away, and each of them implements the insight in a slightly different way. And sometimes we have a little bit of luck, and it all happens or seems to be all right, but in a lot of the cases, different departments within the organization make different interpretations and are not doing the same thing or working towards the same goal. So bringing people together, not only to let them all experience the insight, let them talk about the insight, let them reflect upon the insight, but also let them work together around the insight to make sure that we are moving faster towards one and the same goal. And next to all the things I already talked about, one of the things that we really don't do well is building collective memory. We share insights, and a couple of months later, nobody knows what the insights were. We need to remember them, what the insights were. We do research, and 2 years later, we do again the same piece of research. We do research, and then during the presentation, someone says, I already knew this because I have this and this piece of data that proves this. So I think we not only need to do workshops at the end of a study, we probably need to do workshops at the beginning of a study as well, to see, first of all, what are the knowns, what are the unknowns, what's the collective memory around this topic, not only in terms of going to our archives, our research archives, to see what have we done in the last 5 years on this topic in terms of research, but also try to see what's in the heads of the people. What do they know about the topic? What do they know out of their day-to-day experience? And that will make that everything that we do in a study will become far more relevant, surprising, and impactful. And this one is linked to that. It's linked to the fact that we not only need to do a workshop and bring people together at the end of the study, but also at the beginning. Because one of the biggest barriers that I notice when you do research, and especially when you do research that is more collaborative and co-creative of nature, where you really say, listen to your consumers are the best consultants out there, you get a lot of resistance in a lot of the cases, especially from the people within the business. Why? Because they say, yes, that's great that you have listened to consumers, but how long has it been that you have listened to me? To my day-to-day observations in the field. And we have seen that with that very same bus company, that public transportation company. The company had already for 2 years a consumer consulting board. So they were talking every single day with 150 of their travelers, the people in the buses. And they thought, well, this is great. We should talk about that to the public. So on their Facebook page, in a press release to the national press, in a press conference, the CEO of the company was saying, we really care about our travelers. We have a consumer consulting board already for 2 years. Every day we talk about our services with our customers. And this is all the things that we have done based on all those insights to make what we do more relevant for you, the public. What happened? On their Facebook page, a lot of their bus drivers were complaining. They were saying, it's great that we do this, but you have forgotten that every single day I have a lot of those people in my bus. I see things every single day. I see what is happening every single day. Have you ever asked me for my observations? Have you ever asked me for my ideas? Yes, I know on our intranet we can post something, but bring in me. And it's especially in organizations where you have a lot of frontline personnel. But I think also the people within headquarters of companies, they are consumers too. They use your own services too. Bring in their ideas. Let them first say what it's on their mind. And that will make, first of all, that they will be more receptive for input from consumers. But secondly, they will become your eyes and ears in society as well. So the second chunk is on, let's bring people together at the beginning of a study, at the end of a study, to see what the collective memory is, to make sure that the research is more relevant, that the insights are more surprising, and at the end to make sure the insights come to life, they talk about it, they implement it, and they do it together, across different departments. And in that whole process, we should not forget to, let's say, use the wisdom of our internal crowd and mix that with consumer insights, because that will make it even stronger, but that will also make that people are more receptive to use the strategy, to change things based on consumer input, because they were part of it. They co-created it with you. Third and last chunk is on making a difference. Making a difference with the work that we do with the consumer insights that we have found. If you look at this slide as being an optimist, which I am, you can say, great. Almost half of the work that we do has an impact. If you look at this as being a pessimist, you can say half of the money that we spend on research is worthless. Doesn't go anywhere. Second result, also coming from a study among researchers in organizations around the world, only 1 out of 2 insights is surprising. Links back to the point that I just made. Let's make this 90% of the things that we find is relevant, is surprising to the business. How can we do that? To spend at least a third of the time at the beginning of the research. I think that's the thing we should do. We should spend 1/3 of the time before the study, talking with people, 1/3 of the time to do the study, and the last 33% to create impact. And I think that's not how we do it today. And that's not what research agencies do today, because it's not about you, it's about us. We need to change. We can have more impact. We already do a great job with all our new methodologies, but we can do more. And it's not about extra money, because 28% of the people want more money, want higher budgets. But there was an interesting study from 2009 done by the Boston Consulting Group, which did the research, which looked at if you have more budget for market research within your organization, does that mean if you raise the budget, you also find better, stronger insights? Does that mean that you have more impact on the business? And the answer is no. There is no correlation between spending more money and having better insights, having more impact on the business. It's probably the slide, if you want to share this internally with your boss, that you need to kill. But it's good for us to know. It's good for us to know that it's not about the money. It's about doing more with what we have and spending more time and attention to impact than to the research itself. Last but not least, another thing that comes back in the qualitative piece of the research is a lot of the researchers say, or a lot of the users of research say, that they don't know how to use consumer insights. And why? Because it's not a habit for them to use consumer insights. And why is that? Because they are not confronted enough with consumer insights. So we need to make that working with consumer insights becomes a day-to-day reality. So there needs to be probably a constant flow of little consumer stories, little sparks of consumer inspiration to make them always think about, oh, what would the consumer think? What's the consumer insight? And to make them used to using that into their day-to-day job. And we also need to learn them that every piece of research that they get, that it should lead to actions. Think back of presentations that you do within your company. I see it often that you have 10 people around the table, and you have a great meeting, a great presentation. Everybody says at the end, was a great presentation, really interesting. If you then go back a month later, if it's more like a strategic partnership that you have with the client, and you see all those 10 people back, and you ask them, how was it? How is it going with that interesting piece of research? What have you done? I haven't done a lot with it yet. But I will do it. I will do it. It should be a reflex that immediately you write down at least one thing that you are going to change, that you are going to do with it. I've once read an interesting book that says that if you are confronted with new information and you don't do anything with it within the next 48 hours, the chances are really high that you're never going to use it, that new piece of information, to change your behavior, to act upon it. So I think we need to focus on that more. So I think if you look at the last bit, how can we have more impact on the business? Well, by making sure that the research that we do surprises, by making sure that we talk to people up front, that we know, what they don't know, so that we can design, let's say, our study for impact, that we can design it for relevance for the business, more than we do today. And secondly, I think it's about making sure that people within the organization see the beauty of consumer insights, know how to work with it, and we need to train them in that. We need to train them in, this is a consumer insight, this is how you can use it. And it's like with everything. The more they will do it, the better that they will get at it. And we also need to make sure that at the end of every study, we make sure that they take at least one action as soon as possible, or write down one action point, otherwise it's never going to happen. So are we serious about impact? Yes, we are. But probably there is room for improvement. And we now have seen what all the things are that we can work on. And we is really we. It's you and it's us. It's you as corporate researchers, it's we as research agencies. Because I think we need to join forces, because we cannot do it alone. You're close to the business. We sometimes have different techniques that we have seen at other clients. Let's do it together. And let's really make sure that in the next 5 years, it's about more impact, not about new methodologies. That's what, from now on, I think, every single research conference in the world should focus on. Let's stop being research nerds. Let's become partners of business professionals in our companies. So this is the focus. Let's focus on innovation in the space of impact. So the real question of this presentation, this was all, let's say, a nice piece of research to show you why my title is there, how to market research. And that's the real question. How are we going to do that? How can we do that? And I think it's actually very simple. We need to think more creatively. We need to think more as marketeers. More specific, as content marketeers. We need to have a content marketing strategy where the content is research results, consumer insights. And I think just as a good content management and marketing strategy, we need 3 streams. And we need to start small, and big. So we need to experiment in the beginning with a small audience, but at the end, I think the whole organization should be confronted with consumer insights and with our work. So the three streams that I see in such a strategy is, first of all, you have campaigns. And campaigns are around strategic issues within the business. So I think what you should do at the beginning of the year is, what are the strategic issues that my company is dealing with? What's the research program that fits with those strategic kind of challenges? What's all the research that we are going to do? And how is it linking? How will it give input to the people in the business to tackle those challenges? And thirdly, what are the big moments in time when we are going to report on what insights do we have around those strategic challenges? Where are we in tackling those strategic challenges? And I think what we do today is, especially I see that within FMCG companies, where they have a lot of internal stakeholders, where they have a lot of pieces of research to be done and to be shared with the people inside, is research projects are silos. You have a research project, you present it to the person who has ordered it, and that's it. I think in every research project, there are insights that can help you to tackle the strategic challenges. So this first stream is having a holistic view on strategic challenges. It's about finding bits and pieces from the past researches that you did, from the researches that you do right now, find insights across pieces of research, get also input from internal people, and mix it into a content stream that is all about where are we when it comes to our strategic challenges. And in a lot of the cases, these are the interesting moments to also bring a lot of people within the business together to organize brainstorms and workshop sessions with different people from different departments. And this first stream will make that you really become consultants within the business, strategic partners for the people inside. Then you have the projects. And we still need the projects, and we still need to present to the ones that are the internal client for those projects. But I think in those projects, the focus should become, what are you going to do with this project, with these results tomorrow? What are the things that you are going to change here and now? Because the strategic issues, we already tackled them elsewhere. And then I think in between all those moments, those bigger moments when you sit together with people and have presentations and have workshops, we should share in a more digital way every single day, but also offline, little consumer stories. Little consumer stories, of course, that link back to the strategic issues that we have, to the projects that we are doing. And those consumer stories, or numbers from interesting quantitative studies in micro infographics, which is just one key number, it should make that people always think, what is the outside world thinking of us? What's the consumer thinking of us? And by confronting them on a weekly basis with a couple of those interesting things, interesting facts, interesting stories, we will make sure that they are trained in appreciating consumer insights, and that they start to have that reflex. What does this mean for me? So this is about the strategic issues. This is about what do we need to change tomorrow. This is about the long term. This is about the short term. And the blue dots is about creating a consumer-centric thinking organization. So that's the bigger kind of plan. That's the bigger kind of strategy. What can you do then on a project level? Every single project that you do, what kind of 4 building blocks do we need in the beginning and at the end of a project? I will go first over them, and then each time I will give a small example. Harvest. I think every project should start with harvesting the existing knowledge. What do they think? If you just ask it to them as being somebody in the business, maybe even as a consumer they are themselves, what do they think about the matter? If they look to all the information that they have available right now, what is already known? What's still unknown? Asking questions about, what are you going to do with the research? What are your decisions that you're going to make based on the research? So research, yes, start with the briefing, but when we have created the briefing, we should then bring the briefing to life and talk about the briefing with all internal stakeholders more intensively, more extensively. That's, I think, really important, that the briefing is something, first of all, between you as a researcher, a corporate researcher, and the business owner, but then you co-create a second version of the briefing with everyone that in the end will touch the research results, will make use of the insights. I have seen that in projects that where we have done that, the outcome is more relevant, more surprising, and really, really, really used. Because all of a sudden it becomes a project that is co-created by many, many, many people. And it can be easily done in a workshop of a couple of hours, but it can also be done in an online way, when you have people spread across different locations. This is an example from a study we did for Telefonica, which is a telco operator. And for their headquarters in London, we did a study on the future of video calling. And of course, they have already done a lot in that space. So we wanted to understand what is all the knowledge about this. We wanted to see how can this new study really be relevant? How can we bring insights to the table that will cause an aha moment? And in order to do that, with all the different stakeholders across the globe, we did an online session, an online asynchronous session to investigate what are the knowns, what are the unknowns, what are the needs of everyone who will actually use the study. And based on that, we designed the study. And because we have a little bit an academic mind, we love to do experiments, we actually had a topic guide crafted before we did that. So together with our internal client and the global CMI manager, we crafted a topic guide for this qualitative study before we did this. Guess what? We have thrown half of it away after we have done this exercise and replaced it with different questions, with different topics. So that's how powerful it can be to really fly in all those people that will use it. Secondly, it's about when you then have the research results, seeding them wide in the organization. Like, what do we do now for that bus company, that public transportation company? We also have newsletters on a monthly basis for the bus drivers. And the bus drivers get in their language, and the ones that are relevant for them, they get consumer insights. Consumer insights they can use to improve the experience they are offering on their bus to the passengers. What do we see? Well, that step by step we see that doing this, making more use, leveraging consumer insights wider within the organization, makes that the customer satisfaction of the public transportation company goes up, that their NPS score becomes better. So we can have an impact not only on the business decisions that are being made, no, our consumer insights can also have an impact on, let's say, the performance of the company directly. Same kind of story for ATAG, which is back in Europe a kitchen appliances manufacturer. And they went through a big strategic shift. And actually there was a lot of resistance within the company. A lot of people within the company were like, if we are following this strategy, it's too radical, we will be bankrupt in 3 years from now, and I will lose my job. So people were not really willing to cooperate. So what did? We crafted a program to hear their thoughts first, and then through newsletters and through offline moments, lunches around consumer insights, we shared all the insights that the new strategy was based on. So we brought the consumer and the consumer insights to life to make every single individual within the company, the 400 employees, believe that this was the strategy they needed to believe in and to follow, that this was the way forward. So it can also have an impact on the motivation of your employees and the company culture. So I think this is about spreading your insights across the organization, making that more people use them, making that more people really are confronted with them and believe in them. Then we have activation. And activation is about, yes, we have the consumer insights. Maybe we already shared the consumer insights, but after that, it's about bringing the insights to life. And already used the example of the top management of the bus company. And we didn't do that with everyone, the speed dating. That would have been a little bit difficult. What we did with all the other people within the headquarters, so with all the, let's say, headquarter corporate functions, we did a quiz of 10 questions around those 10 major consumer insights. So actually, they were put in the shoes of a consumer, and the questions were asked in a way that it was like, predict what your consumer, what the travelers, the passengers that we have in our buses every single day, what they would do. So we created a quiz based on our 10 consumer insights. And they saw immediately if they were right or wrong. They got a score at the end, of course, as well. So it was a little competition as well. But more importantly, it was a consumer through a little video who was giving them the right answer and who was telling a story of themselves why that was the right answer. So again, we activated the insights, and we made that not only top management was really believing in it and was making the right decision, but all the people that they would need along the way to execute the strategy, they were also confronted with consumer insights. And an interesting exercise we did for that same bus company, we had a presentation afterwards, again with the guys and the ladies who were in the speed dating session, and we said, oh, let's do something else. Because it was about customer satisfaction on the bus. What do you think we did? Come to our office. Don't come by car. Come by bus. You don't want to know how many of those 10 hadn't been on a bus for years. So it was great just doing these kind of things, but in a structured way. It's not about, I think what's wrong with those type of exercises, those consumer safaris, is we send them out without any kind of briefing, without any kind of structure. Just immerse into the world of your consumer. What we do different is, we first look for the consumer insights. Once we have the consumer insights, we craft exercises and tasks around the consumer insights to bring the consumer insights to life. So actually, we already know what we're looking for. And if we confront them with consumers, we have handpicked those consumers from our consumer consulting board that really will make an impact on them, who have interesting stuff to tell. So that's the difference with the traditional way of doing those kind of consumer immersion sessions. So it's about harvesting up front, it's about leveraging the consumer insights even more, it's about bringing the consumer insights to life, and it's about organizing gatherings around those consumer insights, bringing people from multiple departments together to work together on the consumer insights, to craft a strategy in that session, to create energy, but especially to make that everybody is really making the same interpretation, that everybody is aligned, and that everybody really will work together towards one and the same goal. You could compare it with, at that moment, we actually create a little startup. Around the project, around that strategic challenge, we bring people from different departments together, and we say from now on, this is not a project anymore, this is a startup. And the goal of the startup is to make this happen. And we will do this with this cross-departmental team. And luckily, we have the help of all those consumers who have brought us these insights. Let's together with consumers, let's together as this multidisciplinary team, let's make it happen. So that's what you can do, let's say, in terms of strategizing it. That's what you can do on a project level. It's the content marketing kind of framework, and it's the 4 building blocks on a project level. And then there is one thing that is also really interesting to do. It's using market research to measure your own performance. So what we do is we track brands, we track what our colleagues do, we almost give an evaluation to our colleagues with the research that we're doing, but we never measure our own impact. Not to give ourselves a report number, but to prove to the business that all the money we spent every single day was very, very well spent. So what we do nowadays, more than ever, is measure within companies, before we do a study and after we have done the study, what the study and the insights have done to the hearts, the minds, and the actions of the people in the business. The hearts is, do they now think more consumer-centric? The minds is, were the insights used to craft a strategy? Can we link the insights back to strategic decisions? And the actions is, what has happened in the business? And has the business performed better? So we craft reports not only with consumer insights, but we also craft reports to demonstrate that the money spent on generating the insights and doing all of the stuff that you just saw really had made an impact. And that makes that you will not have those budget cut discussions anymore. Isn't that good news? So what's next? I think we have seen what the issues are. We have seen a couple of solutions that we can work on together. And I'm sure that a lot of people in the audience have their own ways of doing this as well. And I think it's about now working together, sharing knowledge with each other tonight. How do you do it at your organization? And working together more as partners, research agencies and their clients, to make sure that we are having more impact of the business, because it's good for all of us. It's really a win-win situation. So what are the 3 takeaways until now? I think it's about sharing consumer insights broader within the organization. They can have more return on investment. They can be used by more people. It's about bringing insights to life, because if you bring insights to life, they will become sticky. People will really use them. Again, more return on investment, more return on insights. And it's about training the people within the business to learn to appreciate consumer insights. It's about making sure that they know what a consumer insights is, how they can use it. And we can use that by confronting them more with little bits and pieces. Consumer stories, micro-infographics, next to the big kind of strategic workshops that we do, and the results of projects that we share with them. Let's train our organization to use more consumer insights. Let's create consumer-centric thinking organizations, or even better, consumer-activated organizations. And it's also a little bit of a premiere here, because we have created a tool that helps corporate researchers to do this, to manage their content marketing. We have created a tool that helps them to reach more people by creating an internal social network. A social network that is, for one time, not about the people, but about consumer insights. So it's a tool that helps you to spread faster than ever before consumer insights to relevant people within the organization. It links consumer insights back to strategic objectives that you have as a company. And it helps you to let people brainstorm with each other in between presentations, in between workshops. And it also makes that you can use that tool as a way to crowdsource all the internal knowledge, the internal ideas. It's currently used on a global level by IKEA, by Danone, and Durell Juvenile, which is the creator of Maxi Cozy and Queenie, all kind of baby gear. And that are the 3 clients that currently use it in a beta version. And I have to say that it's great to see that people within the business who normally aren't in a presentation of research results all of a sudden get excited about market research. So slowly we are getting there. We make people really excited about our job. And I think that's what we need to do. and that's a little bit the conclusion of my presentation. We said what we need to do is focus less on methods, focus more on impact. We have enough methods. In most of the cases, we have the best insights. We have enough insights. Now the time is there to focus on how can we even have more impact than we already have today. We are doing a good job. We can even do a better job. I truly believe that we can become, as researchers, the stars within our company. What do we need to do next? Now that we have all those insights, we need to create memes. And if you know a little bit the history of the web, you know that memes that are viral, things that go viral on the web, can be a video, but can also be an urban legend. Like all of a sudden, everyone is talking about that thing. All of a sudden, everybody believes it. And people also start to act differently on it. That's done in a negative way. I think consumer insight should go viral within organizations as well. We have turned facts and data into insights based on everything that we have learned in the past 60 years of professional market research. Now it's time to turn those insights into company-wide memes. Everyone within the organization should be confronted with it, should understand it, should believe in the insights that are relevant for them, and should take action on it.